on Tuesday, January 17th, 2023, and I hereby call this regular scheduled meeting of the City Council to order. Could you please bow your heads? Heavenly Father, we ask for your blessings here tonight. We ask that you provide us with wisdom and knowledge to make the appropriate decisions for what is best for all of Diamond Head. As we proclaim human trafficking for the month of January, we ask that you please protect the men and women that are engaged and involved in this, and please help secure and provide services to the members and to the foundations that are working hard to help eliminate human trafficking. For this and for all our private intentions, let us pray. Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rio.
Here.
Councilmember Finley.
Here.
Councilmember Lisi.
Here.
Councilmember Cumberland.
Here.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Marr.
Here.
Okay, could I get a motion to confirm or adjust the agenda?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley to confirm the agenda. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilwoman Lisi. All in favor? Aye. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council will be held February 7th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in Council Chambers located at City Hall. Under presentations tonight, first we have Ms. Darlene Everett Taylor with the Diamond Head Arts and Crafts Fair. Would you like to come up and present something?
Hello.
Hello.
Like she said, I'm Darlene, that runs the Diamond Head Arts and Craft Fair. And there has been some allegations, false allegations put up against me.
Can you make sure that green button green?
Yes, it is.
If you just maybe stick into it please, so everybody can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Oh, I could hear myself. Okay. And I don't know, have y'all been had? Anyway, there was a Facebook page that was printed by Mr. Taylor, who is not related to me, okay, at all. And he accused me of embezzling money from the children of the Football League, and it just goes on. And I'm here to clear my name and Diamond Head Arts and Craft Fair and tell y'all a little bit of history about it, how it went down, so that everybody understands. Okay, does that make any sense? Okay. On this paper here is what I'm actually going to go by. All right. The one that says official statement by the Diamond Head Youth Athletic Regions. In the first paragraph, it states in the middle that the two organizations that operated the craft fair was in 2017. That was actually in 2019, so I do want to make that clear. That's when the baseball and the football league split from the craft fair. Okay. And then it says here that I was hired to run the craft fair. I was not, no, it says here that I approached the president of the football league then, who was running. They were over it. And that was not the case. There was a gentleman that was running it then, and he was just a parent who knew nothing about craft fairs. And about 3 weeks before the craft fair started, maybe 2 weeks, in 19, I was speaking to him on the phone because I was a vendor, And he did not have any clue of what he was doing. He just thought he had to collect the checks from the vendors, and that's how you had a craft fair. That was it. That's all he knew. And so I explained to him, no, you got to get taxes, you got to get approvals, you got to get insurance, and so on, okay? It's not just about getting an application and mailing them out. So he actually literally brought all of this stuff to me in a grocery bag, and he says, this is what I have. I do not know what to do with it other than this, and I need you to do this for me. If I would not have done it that year, there would have not been a craft fair, because it was folding. It was actually down to almost nothing at that point. And this actually happens to be the first year, the last year that it was in front of the country club. Okay. And so that's what I want to say there. And then on the second paragraph, it says here that I utilized the P.O. box for me at the post office to get the mail in. That is kind of true, but not true, okay? I was approached by Mr. Danny, who was the president of the Football League at that time, and he said, the address is already on all of these applications for this year, so go ahead and use this P.O. box, get all your applications in from there. And that's how I started getting the mail at the P.O. box, okay? But what would happen with that is Diamond Head Youth Athletic Association is DYAA, and Diamond Head Craft Fair is, DYCA. So there was a lot of confusion with the mail. And I had some applications that didn't get to me. That was picked up. I'm not accusing anybody, but I think it was just a you're picking up mail. It gets assorted. So I didn't have some applications. And so that's how I came about opening my own P.O. box number for the craft fair, for the craft fair itself. And I get accused of opening up a craft fair P.O. box. And but I have made this thing grow from 2019 to now, where it was less than 50 vendors in 19, and in 22 we had like 150 vendors. I have increased the venues. I've made more revenue for the city with this, with taxes and all, and I work real hard at it.
I have a question. So I'm just because I'm
Go ahead.
confused. Are you an independent contractor? Are they paying you to run this thing? Like, how do you make what's in it for you? Because
Okay.
I wouldn't want to run a craft fair.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. So
Yeah.
how do you
Well,
get paid?
when the first president, Mr. Danny,
Uh-huh.
he said to me, because at that time it was very small,
Mm-hmm.
if you do all the work, we'll just split the profits 50-50. We'll get 50% of it, and for all your work that you do, because it takes me about 8 months? 9 months to get all of this rolling and stuff. So, I got lots to do. And so it's not like, the week before the craft fair, we're going to have a craft fair.
No, I know.
Ms. Taylor, if you could wind up the presentation, because usually they don't go on this long, so I want you to say what you need to tell us so that we know, get your important points out for us.
Well, he made all of these allegations against me, which is not true, and nobody wanted to ever talk to me about anything. I try to talk to somebody and they say, I was advised not to talk to you. I was advised not to talk to you. And so now I'm here and I'm trying to explain to y'all, and it's not a 2-minute conversation. That's why I got all these papers for you all to read. But what happened this year, I'll go back to last year, was the president before Ben always worked with me with a craft fair. He came in, him and his family, they did hamburgers, hot dogs, stuff like this. They picked up trash, they helped the vendors load up, unload, just worked their butts off for for the craft fair. Then when Mr. Ben took over, he actually said, I'm not doing that. I'm way entirely too busy. It's yours, you do it. So I did. Well, then this past year, and I went to go, like I always do, to the tax office. And then I got there, and the lady told me that she didn't even know how we ran the craft fair the year before, because there was no record of Diamond Head Youth Athletic Association or Diamond Head the Football League or anything like
So
that.
that year, had you given half of the money to,
We're not going to ask questions tonight, Councilwoman
Oh.
Lisi. That's okay. This is a presentation.
sorry.
No, that's okay.
I don't mind answering them.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, 'cause
We
that
just
was-
wanted you to come. I
Yeah.
mean, you wanted to come. I assume you got with the
That's-
city manager, and you wanted to
intention
come.
was.
And we could take your letter and read it and go over it, because you're right. This is a lot bigger than a 2-minute conversation.
Oh, it is. It's
It
huge.
is, and we greatly appreciate you coming tonight to explain your side of it. There's always two sides to every story. So can we take your letter, read it,
Yeah,
and
you-
then we'll let the city manager get back with you?
Well, yeah, you could, but I would
Okay.
like to say
Okay.
that I have included the 2022 profit and loss all the way to the 19 profit and loss,
Okay.
so that you can see that in 19, the profit was only a little bit over 1,100, and then we had COVID, so that was a problem. And then this last year, it was 11,500, okay? So, it's grown, and I mean, my family and I are the only ones that work this all year long, okay? And for him to come and accuse me of stealing money from the children of the football league is not true whatsoever, and have I given him any money? No. Do I have the money in the bank? Yes, okay? Because this past year, when I went to the tax people, since there was no record of them, and the lady even told me, I don't even know how y'all ran it last year. It should not have ever been run. So I had to, at that exact moment, make a decision. Run it as a sole proprietor for this year that just passed. So for me to run it as a sole proprietor kind of changed the whole big ball of wax. And Mr. Ben was not involved in it at all. I get there, I had to put up a $500 bond. I had to pay, it was out of our money. And I had to get an insurance policy to protect, not just the one for the craft fair, but to protect my family and I from, if something was to happen. So there's more expenses going on. And I was always about, he can pick up the phone and call me, and I have records that'll show you. The man never picked up the phone to call me, one time, except for the day before the craft fair. So then he got mad at me because I wouldn't turn over the money, because I explained to him that it was run as a sole proprietor. And of course now he thinks I stole the craft fair, but he wasn't involved in it in any way, and I didn't have a choice. I'm sitting there a couple of weeks before the craft fair, and it's not going to go again because the paperwork hasn't been kept up. So I had to take and run it this last year as a sole proprietor, which I did do. Because, I take a lot of pride in the craft fair. I've really worked to build it up as it is. I already have applications for this coming year, for the craft fair. So what I want to do now is, now that the craft fair is a 501c3, I can get more money, generate more money for the income of the craft fair, to pay for some expenses, to raise money. And I also want to take and be able to not just give the money to one person. They got the performing arts that's here, they got other, sports. I'd like to be able to take, some of the profits at the end of the year and spread it out over Diamond Head, different things for the youth and stuff, not just one thing, since no one's involved. And I have it now as a 501c3, and I'm running it as a business, Well, before it wasn't, you know, and I got all the records and everything is put in order. And you can tell just by the different, pages in the back of how the profit and, loss looks, how it, gets better and more in detailed. And that's what I want to do. I want to make more money for the for the craft fair. I want to make more money for the city. I want to bring in more people. That's where I'm at. And I don't want to be falsely accused.
And Mayor, could I just make a suggestion? Because you
Yes.
did hand me, and this is the first that I've seen this, but Ms. Taylor does have an attorney that has drafted a letter and addressed it to you. Obviously, I haven't had time to take a look at it, but because of that, I'm sure that you all do have questions. But on my recommendation, I'd say we just kind of hold off on those questions. Let's review this, talk with city
Okay.
manager, see where we're at. But
Okay.
Thank
we've received
you.
her information.
Mhm.
Obviously, this is some of these addresses some of the questions that I know some residents and some of y'all have been asking. But let's have an opportunity to take a look at it and deal with our legal
Exactly.
counsel.
Well, thank you, Ms. Darlene, for coming tonight.
Okay, can I book the date for next year's craft fair?
We're going to have to wait with these two, and they will get with you. Can you all get with Ms. Darlene after you read all that and go through it? Okay, thank you very
Do you know
much.
about how long that'll be? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, next, we have,
City manager.
we're not ready yet. We still have the proclamation on the agenda. So, would you like to come forward? Tonight, we have Jubilee Havens here tonight, which works with human trafficking victims. So I would like for you tonight to tell us a little bit about your organization. We are doing a proclamation to say that we do support your cause. So would you like to say your name, who you're with, and a little bit about your organization?
Yes. My name is Sharon Robbins. I'm the founder and executive director of Jubilee Havens, and we provide safe haven for victim survivors of human trafficking. And I say victim survivors because victims sometimes don't survive, and then there's those that do survive, that need mental health, they need counseling, they need lots of stuff on both hands. And I could make a list, but I won't go into all of that. But we are going into our 7th year of being a 501c3, and we've done a lot of footwork, meeting with partners around the state of Mississippi, because at the time that we got into this, I actually worked with another anti-human trafficking organization that I told my story as a survivor of human trafficking. And while I was in that organization, I realized that we're doing all this education and awareness, but you have nowhere to put them in the state of Mississippi. So I started doing some legwork. I tried to give this vision away 3 times, and nobody was where they needed to be to do it. So I was called to do it. So because of that, we're going into our 7th year. And the first 4 years was a lot of work, a lot of resistance. And we did a lot of fundraisers to get our name out there. And we're still doing that at least twice a year, and little ones in between. And we actually do have so much footwork in the last 3 years of building partnerships around the state of Mississippi and Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, and Louisiana. I needed a place that if a girl came across our path, we needed to know where to send them to get the health and restoration that they needed and be safe while they're doing it. So we have built MOUs all over the state of Mississippi that do have a safe haven now as of 2021. And then all of the other ones were created in 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. So 22 was our best year yet. The Scarlet Pearl Casino and Resort is our #1 stakeholder in Jubilee Havens. We started with them in 2019, and they are actually the presenting stakeholder, presenting sponsorship for the dinner that we will be having called A Night in Her Shoes on January the 28th. Starts at 4. It's at the Kroc Center on Division Street. And we have an author talking about her book We have entertainment, door prizes, silent auction of art, etc. Survivors will be in the audience, but we will not point them out unless they want to tell you that. But it is one of those things that the public needs to know, that it's not just education and awareness. There are red flags. You can go to our website at www.jubileehavens.com. There is a page on there that gives you all of the red flags, all of the warning signs, and the events coming up, and who our board members are. And we are looking for business-minded board members, because this has to be run like a business, even though it is a ministry unto these girls. And Mississippi doesn't have but 2 long-term facilities. That's it. Mississippi only has 2. They don't have an emergency respite. Our emergency respite, what we call the whistle stop, is a 30-day program where we usually only have them 14 days, and they go to another long-term facility that we partner with to go into a 1 to 2 year program for restoration. This is a lot of footwork that we've done to prepare for what's got to come next and what comes after that. All of the MOUs that we have now, we have 7 around and in the state. One is the Gulf Coast Center for Nonviolence, which actually we got our first guest in our home back in the end of June, right after we opened. We've actually had 10 referrals, and that's all because of this going across the Gulf Coast. And it is a crisis line that we created, and the Scarlet Pearl funded it to make sure that these decals and these business cards went out all over the Gulf Coast, from Louisiana state line to Alabama. And then when we get a lot more businesses, which is in our newsletter, you can get it off of our website and our Facebook page, the recent one, and I just gave one to the mayor. And all the businesses, Hancock County included, we've handed these out. They're actually at the resource center. They're actually at the community college, the decals. And that's how we got some of our referrals, because these went out. And we're excited about that. So that started in January. 1 year ago, that line went live. It has our line at the bottom, and the national one is Boulder. Because even if they don't come through our safe haven, we want to know that they called. It's important that they know the numbers out there. How did I come across this? By going on a little travel trip to Texas. In Louisiana, it's mandated, this hotline. It's on bathroom doors in stores. In Texas, it's mandated. And Mississippi has not mandated it yet. So I came back from that little trip, and I presented it to Scarlet Pearl, and they bought it. And they believe in it, and now they have it on their bathroom doors in every hotel room and their lobby. So we're excited about that.
What is the number, if you don't mind saying it? What is the local number, the crisis line for?
It's 844-7, goodness gracious, 380590.
Okay.
And they can call that, and it will go to 7 different people. So if the first one doesn't answer, the second one will pick up. And our most recent one came from Merit Health just last month. These cards were in the emergency room. They're also in the emergency room here in Hancock County. And we've been spreading them out. It was a 16-year-old girl who spoke Spanish. And the nurse that called the number got one of our girls, our ladies that answer the volunteers, and she answered the call. She called me and she said, "Sharon, what do I do?" I said, "Give me the logistics." She did. I called a D'Iberville officer who does speak Spanish, because the 2 Biloxi officers did not speak Spanish. So I sent him there so he could get the truth, because anybody that overtalks a young lady or a young man who's being trafficked, you don't get the truth. So I sent somebody in there to get the truth. They ended up sending the 16-year-old girl to CPS after they arrested the man that was with her, because he did have a record. But that was because somebody went there to listen to the interpretation of what was being said or not said. So these cards and these decals are going to be a game changer. because of the fact that people can call it and not be afraid to get help. And those calls sometimes come in. It can also be a suicide. It can be a mental situation. It can be somebody who's being beat up. We have the resource booklet to send them to where they need to be. Doesn't always have to be a trafficking survivor that calls.
Well,
And
you're
our-
doing great work. You're
Thank
doing
you.
amazing work.
Yeah, and I hope that all of you would go on our website as well as our Facebook page, Jubilee Havens, and come to the event and find out a little bit more.
So are those stickers available? Could we get some as the city to put around areas or?
Yes, I have half a roll left in my car.
Okay, well, I know a few places.
I carried them with me everywhere.
And
Yes.
those are very good to have, like you said, to put in restrooms and that.
Yes, yes, restrooms, restaurants. We do have a fundraiser tomorrow at Cedar Lake, Pops Ferry Road, Pops Pizzeria. We're having a little spirit
Okay.
night tomorrow night, and he has them right there on his front door. So
Excellent.
that anybody even walking by, not even going in the restaurant, can see the number. Yes.
And I'll share my little creative story. I know I
Yes.
shared it with you. It was
Yes, I loved
original.
it.
So
I loved it.
one year for Christmas for the Republican Women's Tree, I made 250 Christmas ornaments with the stickers on burlap, and we hung them on the tree and donated them across the coast to hang on all the public trees we could find. Just we like to think we saved one person with that. And, you know, we have no idea of knowing, but the
That's right.
stickers need to be out so people can. And I didn't even know till you and I spoke that there was a local number. So
Yes, ma'am.
that's even better. You're doing amazing work.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now I'm going to read your proclamation. Yes. City of Diamond Head, Human Trafficking Proclamation. Whereas human trafficking, whether in the form of forced labor, sex trafficking, or other offenses, is an abuse of power and profoundly immoral crime that strikes at the safety, health, and dignity of millions of people worldwide. And whereas the Federal Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000 enshrined the United States commitment to combating human trafficking domestically and internationally, and whereas every January since 2010 has been dedicated to raise awareness about human trafficking and to educate the public about how to identify and prevent this crime. And whereas since being founded in 2016, Jubilee Havens, a 501c3 nonprofit vetted in compliance with the State Department of Health, maintains a mission of providing temporary safe haven for rescued adult victims of human trafficking in Mississippi. And whereas supported the mission and the agency's temporary safe haven, the Whistle Stop, is being sparked by interest from local, state, and federal partners, law enforcement, businesses, organizations, communities of faith, families, and citizens who aim to prevent all forms of human trafficking. Now, therefore, I, Nancy DePrio, Mayor of the City of Diamond Head, Mississippi, by virtue of authority invested in me, do hereby proclaim January 23rd, 2023 as Human Trafficking Prevention Month. I witness, therefore, I have unto set my hand this 17th day of January in the year of our Lord 2023. So
Thank
I
you
am
so
going to
much.
ask you to come up, but let me get a picture of you by the podium first.
Okay.
And then I'm going to ask Tammy, could you get us a picture? You can send it to me or get it with mine. Okay.
Okay.
If you want to come up and get this from us.
Everybody in and everybody say cheese. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, got it.
Thank you, honey. You're doing good work. All right, moving on to the city manager's report.
All right. Thank you, Madam Mayor. First off, we have McKeekee Drive. The contractor has installed the conflict box and the sewer line. He is concreting the draining. The concrete drain lines are being installed up to the water line currently. Once he has all the parts and equipment that he needs to install the steel casing around the water line, he'll perform that part of the project. The contractor is requesting a time extension, and it is being reviewed currently by the engineering firm. He also is requesting a change order for cost for the steel casing, but that has not, as of right now, it has not been given to the engineer for the review, but that will be coming as well. The current completion date on the contract was January the 9th, 2023, so there will be some need for a time extension, or we'll have to look at liquidated damages based on the contract being over with. On Hilo Way, the engineering firm issued a notice to proceed on the 16th yesterday. The contract's for 120 days with a substantial completion date set for May 16th, 2023. The engineering firm has completed the traffic study report, and we have some different options to look at for the Golf Club Drive section of that report, and I will be reviewing those and then bringing a presentation to you guys to review at probably the next meeting. The Phase 4 paving project currently is demobilized still. The current completion date on that is set for February the 15th. On to the three big things. The Park 10 Road, I did meet with the engineers. We worked over that whole thing as far as what you guys were looking for the road with the 10-foot wide road with a 1-foot gutter. He has made those changes. That section was only from the Diamond Head Water and Sewer Building to the bowling alley. That was set to 9 feet. He has changed that now to 10 feet. He's done that by reducing the sidewalk on the north side from 10 feet to 8 feet to cover that. He has taken one bulb out of the section closest to the bowling alley to make that to provide one additional parking space there on that side. They will be working on those and will finalize the plans on that and bring all of that to you guys for request to advertise for bid at the next council meeting. That is costing us a little bit more, but it was a safer and better way of producing that entire road instead of just removing the bulb outs. Stormwater master plan, met with the engineer today actually to go over that. We have 17 different locations where he has provided us the detail to the projects that that we are working on. Some of that will be done simply by our Public Works Department, and then others will have to be projects that we have to put together and put out for bid. He is very close. He gave this to me just to kind of review over today, and we will get back with you guys on the actual work that needs to be put out for bid, and then he'll get with our Public Works Department on the jobs that he feels like they can do, giving them scope of work and culverts and things that need to be changed. A lot of it, unfortunately, seems to be that culverts and driveway culverts and landscape culverts are just tilted the wrong way overall. So the water's supposed to flow, left to right, and it's the drainage is set to right to left. So it's going to have to be pulled up, removed, and reset so that it's properly draining them out. Others are, of course, crushed culverts under driveways that will just need to be replaced. Older metal culverts that just are not suitable for the job anymore. So they're working on all of those. There's several, like I said, several areas throughout the city. Most of it is in Drainage Basin A, but it does go throughout section Drainage Basin 55, 56, Drainage Basin A, B, and I believe even F. So it's kind of getting a lot of them in and looking at each one of those. So we got a lot of information, and they put it all together, and I believe it's going to come back to putting together a good project once we get everything finalized. And lastly, I have the Twin Lakes Park and Dog Park, and Jared is here to speak. If he would like to come forward, I've got plans for each one of you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
So John asked me to come address you guys on this dog park, Twin Lakes Park. And so I guess I'm here to answer any questions you have. I think there's probably several questions. I've met with the mayor and the former city manager and John both numerous times. We've got plans ready to go to bid. We've had some alternates. We took the alternates out. There's been lots of moving parts to this thing. So mayor's well aware of the plans, and so I'm here to answer any questions. And if you want me to, I can give you a brief summary
You know,
of.
the steering committee, we probably have 20, 25 residents on that. So the credit goes to them. They have been working 2 years. This will be our 3rd year for the dog park day, which we moved to April 15th. We moved it to April 15th, our dog park day. So we're excited to get this moving forward.
So you want me to give them any questions?
Are you ready to move forward?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess
so
that's my
as a
question.
summary, we've designed the. I guess let me give you a little. I guess you guys are somewhat familiar with this. There's a Tylen's grant for $150,000. That in the Tylen's grant, it is for a pier, a fishing pier, a walking trail. It actually talks about bathrooms, which we took the bathrooms out. There's no bathrooms here. And then it says future amenities include a fence for the dog park. So that's what in the original grant application. So we've designed based on that. So it's got a fishing pier, an entry building feature. The grand scheme is splash pads for the dogs, a walking trail, fenced area, a large dog area, a small dog area. And so those plans are complete and ready to bid. And we've broken out the Talons portion from the dog park portion. I know there's been some private funds raised for the dog park part of it. So that's.
Can you
And we
break
need to
down?
we need to give a big thank you to Senator Moran and Representative Jay McKnight for getting the city that $150,000 for the fishing pier at Twin Lakes.
Can you break down, it says pier trail on my sheet I'm looking at, how much for the pier and how much for the trail?
Yes, sir. That's the pier's easy because it's kind of a standalone. Our estimate's like $25,000 for the pier. The trail is a little different because there's several. I mean, you could take out the asphalt, but then there's a grading that goes along with it. There's some drainage included in that. So if you take out the asphalt portion, the asphalt and limestone portion of the walking trail, you're probably looking at $40,000. But if you don't do any grading and you take out the drainage and all that stuff that has to happen with the trail, it's probably more than that.
So it's just gonna be, asphalt around it, right?
Yeah, well, we've been back and forth. I think this estimate, the latest estimate is a 6-foot trail. We went from 8 foot to 6 foot to reduce some of the cost.
Do you have a mileage, like how many miles or half miles or whatever it is?
I don't with me. It's not miles. It's it's feet. Yes, maybe 1,000 feet. It's hang on, I can tell you real quick. Hang on.
Just curious.
It's not on the list. Let's see.
600 square yards. So if you do the math.
I mean, that costs how much to do that?
Looks like 150,000
It's about 1,000 feet.
maybe.
Mhm.
And what did it cost just for that, you said?
40.
40?
44,
The asphalt and limestone.
The last one.
okay, 40 for that, 25 for the pier. And then what are we looking
You
at
got-
for the extra 125?
Sure, you got some grade. If you do the walking trail, it's kind of coming down the hill. You got some grading and drainage work that's got to go in, and then you got a parking lot. So there's 8 spaces with handicap parking. You got to have some concrete and sidewalks so there's
Pier.
sidewalks to the pier and to the walking trail. So it adds up. We've got a detailed estimate y'all can look at and. Like
It
I told
does
John,
add up.
like I told
The
John,
cost of an asphalt has gone up how much in the past year, 2 years? We just
Everything.
did our road pavement project, and I want to say it doubled.
everything's going up. And that's what I told John. I mean, I can sugarcoat this and tell you it's gonna be $150,000, and then you're gonna be mad at me at the end of the day. So I would rather be honest with you. This is what we're seeing every day. I mean, we bid jobs all the time, and the prices are going up, and it you know, we've cut this, and we can add some alternates. We talked about doing some alternates and taking some things out. Whatever you guys want, we can meld it to that.
If you were to compare our dog park plans, who would you compare them to? What city? As far as, in that
I think
price range?
I think the overall, and I haven't been to many dog parks. I know Biloxi's got a large dog park over on Cedar Lake Road. There's really no amenities. It's a fenced area with
On
just a
Pops
grassed
Ferry.
area. Pops Ferry, I didn't Cedar Lake, Pops Ferry.
We're probably closer to Long Beach, but theirs is bigger.
Yeah.
It'll have more stuff, but they have a bigger area. Long Beach is
This is
bigger.
a smaller area.
Mhm.
Originally we had these pipes where the dogs could crawl through
Mhm.
and a slide. There was all kinds of different things.
Baby
that
steps.
The master plan from, was it Orion?
Yes.
Had a lot of more, I would say, frills to it.
We're not even doing the splash pad now.
Right, we took the splash pads
It's just
out.
the fence.
How would you compare the trail on the dog park side with the trail across the lake? That's from the POA side? Would it be the same length, or would
One's
it
gonna
be?
shorter.
It's gonna be
Oh,
shorter.
that's what I want to know. Is it bigger or shorter than
This
that
one's gonna
one?
be shorter.
Shorter than the one across the lake?
Yep.
Anything about that culvert or the drain that's running through the,
Yeah, so there's a, I think Public Works actually, dug a swale, I'll call it a ditch, dug a ditch through the old dog park and lined it with some riprap.
It's working beautiful.
It's working great, but in order to put this walking trail over, we gotta pipe some of that. And then some of the other drainage is at the parking lot is coming down the hill, so we have to drain the water coming from down the hill across underneath that parking lot. So that's some of the drainage, which is at the bottom of our estimate that we talked about, Public Works putting that in. So, there's like I say, there's lots of moving parts.
and the water and sewer drain in there? Is that affecting anything? Isn't there water and sewer drain right in that area?
There's
The
sewer.
Walking track?
There's a sewer line that runs through there.
There's a sewer manhole that we need to address. I mean, it's not gonna mess up the dog park. We have a situation with the manhole. I think we've seen barricades out there before, so you clearly understand the situation, so, but that's nothing we can fix. We're gonna have to ask them to fix it.
That's not part of this project then?
No.
No, because we can't fix, you know what I'm talking
I do.
about.
I do.
Mhm.
Yeah, we actually secluded the manhole from inside the dog park area.
It's
So there's,
in a grassed area.
it's in a grassed area
Mhm.
outside the fence.
And it kind of runs right underneath the pier, correct? The main does, the sewer main?
Well, it's not, on the land side, it does. It comes from the manhole across the street to that lift station.
Underneath the parking lot, underneath the
Mhm,
pier?
Underneath the parking lot.
I got a question about this first page, how it's broke down into 3 different categories.
Yes,
You've
sir.
got the top category, you mentioned $150,000 for titling funds, and that has a total of $187,000 for that project, so we're short there, right? Is that why we're talking about eliminating
Mhm.
walking trail? To try and get that in budget?
I'm assuming, I mean,
And
I
then,
think we're moving money tonight. It's on the agenda.
okay, so if we do that, then but
What's the 200,000 for the, there was an amendment to,
We're closing Tidelands 21 and moving it into 22 at the request of Sonia. So we only have to track one fund. And
what's the one on the fish, what's the motion on the fishing pier tonight about? That's to change it to $200,000.
oh, that's because, no, it's to change it from 150 to 75, because we originally applied for 150, and we're only awarded 75 in Tidelands, so we have to do an amended application to match that award. The additional 75 is a 30-75 split between, National Heritage and Heritage Tidelands. So that's a different pot of money, and if you'll see, there's a letter, there's a request for an extension, because that grant has surpassed its deadline
And we've been holding that money for a while, so us,
Well, we don't have the money.
well, holding the award.
Right.
We've been holding the award for a while, and Tidelands funds for many years. So,
Is it okay if I keep going with
go ahead.
So,
this? I'm
Wait.
sorry, Gerard.
go ahead.
Are y'all finished on this then,
No.
or you have one more question? Go ahead, and then we'll finish.
I have a question about the sodding for 18,000 and then seeding and then 2 inches of topsoil. Where and how is that gonna be applied?
Yeah, so the sodding is inside the fenced area for the dog park, because if you build this, the walking trail portion of this, that whole thing gets cleared and grubbed and regraded to make it work, to make it drain. And so in order to do that, in order for the grass to grow, you gotta put topsoil. And so the sod is inside the fence, the seeding is outside the fence. So originally we had the whole thing sodded just because it works better. But we reduced that amount to inside the fence and seed everything outside to save money. So,
And if you do sodding and seeding, what's going to be the maintenance issue with the park after it's brand new and then the dogs start using it?
there's no irrigation. I mean,
I mean, I think if we're gonna be doing something that's gonna be like that, we better plan on what's gonna be the upkeep and maintenance of this from every month or year.
And that temporary dog park that was there for a year, volunteers went and emptied all those dog boxes the entire time. So, I mean, we've got volunteers ready to work with it at no expense to the,
I had one dog in my backyard and I had yellow spots all around.
do you still have a dog?
She passed away.
I know, that one did, and you got 2 more.
Yeah, and they got sent back.
You returned them.
So your
All right.
hydro seeding is what you're talking about?
well, actually, outside the fence, we're just gonna seed normally, I mean, just seed what a contractor seeder.
Okay.
Outside the fence. Inside the
I
fence
think
will be
we're
sodded.
finished.
No, I'd like to continue.
So now
please.
we're gonna move to this side. No, I mean, we're finished over here, so now
Okay.
we're moving over here.
Well, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, so anyway, I was saying, we got it in 3 categories.
Correct.
All right, so $150,000 we're short. What is that? $37,000 on the top one. So what is the second category here? We have $150,000 for this. So what's the second category?
Second category is the dog park portion, of the project. 'Cause it's gonna be 9, so we can't pay for the middle block with Tadlin's funds.
Okay,
Was that
Mhm,
fair?
that is
So-
correct.
so we're gonna try to move some money here, right?
Yes.
To cover our 187.
Mm-hmm.
And then are we planning on doing this in the future, like it says in the request, or is that something that we're trying to do all at once?
I hope we're doing it here. So my thought was, we have 32,000 that we've raised, so we're like 50 short.
Yeah.
You know, to find the money in the budget, do it at once, because if you don't, then you've got mobilization cost. You know, you automatically add money on when you rebid it twice.
Yeah, there's like a $5,000 mobilization cost, but the longer we wait on this project, as he said, costs go up. So if we can't do this now, I mean, how much is it gonna cost us to do it?
Later.
Exactly.
And this
the
bottom
longer
part
we
is
wait.
wishes. It's not in the project.
The bottom part is what we're gonna do in-house, correct?
In-house or wait or raise money.
Okay.
Those,
No, some of that's got to be done.
The only part I think that has to be done is the
Is the
pipe,
culvert.
the pipe underneath the driveway, or underneath the parking lot.
mm-hmm,
So where are we gonna get the other 86? You said we got 32,000.
mm-hmm. We'll have to do a budget amendment for 50. Is that what's on the sheet?
I think this one says $63,502. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's taking contingency into
Oh,
account for
adding
both sides.
9,000 in
Yeah,
contingency.
Which may or may not have to be used, but, I mean, it
Mhm.
is in there.
Where are we gonna get that money?
What do you recommend?
As she said, it would have to be out of fund balance from our reserves, yes.
We have
As a
reserves?
budget amendment, as there is no budget for it.
So we have reserves?
We do have some reserve, yes.
Okay.
Was that
Well,
all for
wait,
Councilman Cumberland?
Ah, okay, yeah.
I have.
Councilwoman Lacey? Okay, we already finished on the left. I'm
But
sorry.
now when you're talking reserves, it opened up another
So
barrel
can
of
we-
worms.
Councilwoman Lacey? Councilman Finley? Okay.
Because don't we have to dig into the reserves to fix the stormwater problems on Aiki and Amoka Drive?
We have millions for
I
drainage that
can't-
we're
yeah.
about to talk
I
about
can't
that we
answer
need
that
to
at this
spend.
time. I know right now, as far as what we met with the engineer this morning, he didn't give me any pricing on any of this stuff. So as of right now, I just, there are projects that we will have to address.
All right, well, thank you
Thank y'all. Any
very
other
much.
questions?
Your plans are
Hope I
beautiful.
hope I answered your questions.
No, you did great.
We
Thank
just
you.
got them, so I mean, they're just seeing them.
Yeah,
I'm sure
we're-
there's gonna be questions, because you can't just
Sure.
get something
And
and
like I said,
blurt
we
questions.
can amend these drawings however you,
Right.
as you know, we've changed them
Mhm.
several times, so however we need to adjust it to have some alternates so you guys can afford it or make it work.
And somebody may have some creative ideas.
Sure.
They just got them.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. They're
Thank you.
beautiful. Okay, we have two, and I'm gonna say, oh, okay, one more thing. Oh, and we have questions for you. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to give you this. This is a Bay St. Louis men's prayer breakfast. They did offer you or extend you, Madam Mayor, an invitation as well. But they would like for the men to come and they want to have a prayer over all
Men,
all the men.
that's men.
And you.
And me,
Thank you.
men and me. Okay.
But then
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. So now we're gonna move on to comments for the city manager to my left and Councilman Marr. Let's get them all out there at once.
I can't think of anything at the moment.
Fair enough.
The email request from where we got on the Hilo Way, you were gonna send that to the engineer. Have you heard anything back on?
Yes, he did respond and answered every one, but the last one, he wasn't quite sure what, I can't remember what it was, something about decorative side wings or something to that effect. But the homeowner sent me a picture, and I forwarded that to the engineer. And I also sent the answers from the engineer to the homeowner, and they were extremely pleased. They felt like they were even better than what they were requesting.
Perfect.
So.
I think that's all I got, man, thanks.
Okay, I have one on Makiki. So where are we at with Makiki?
He is installing the concrete culverts under the road. He will do that up to where the water line is. He will dig and expose the water line probably this week, and then get his materials that he needs for the steel casing, and then install that with the conflict box and the rest of whatever needs to be done. Then he'll hopefully finish the rest of the work.
So are we looking like those, so I did walk out there Monday. A resident had asked me to visit them about a whole list of city stuff, which I'm gonna mention some suggestions to you about our conversation later. But the first box they're putting down is sticking up above the street like that much. And he didn't even have the 8-inch lead on it. So the box isn't fitting. So they're probably gonna have to like cut the box.
Is this the one closer or to the
The
south
one
side of the
close
road?
to the Robinsons' home.
Oh, to the Robinson's home? Okay. I believe that one's in place as best
And it-
based on where
so-
the sewer line was and so forth. That's a assumption on my part, but I will check with the engineer.
Yeah, he's gonna have to be cut because he's sticking up above the road.
Gotcha.
So, we're still 3 weeks out on getting that road open. Is there any way we could let the residents know that live on that street, hey, we're 3 weeks out? Could we e-blast and let them know, get with the contractor tomorrow to get a better feel for, because they've been very patient. I posted 2 weeks because that's what I thought we were told, so they were all excited. And now we're 3 weeks out from now.
We can do
So
that.
if we let them know, then they have a better idea, or get the date whenever you can, get from the contractor when,
Will do.
and not unless we want a speed bump on Makiki, is that gonna work? Because it's like way above the road. And the other question was, Councilman Cumberland and myself, received an email about a situation, and the resident still has not gotten a response. So we wanted to talk about it tonight, and it's about a situation with And it's a compliance issue, it's an animal control issue, and I don't know, it's probably a city attorney issue. But it's not a city attorney. Well, you might need to advise us, because we need some help with this one. It's about, a situation with dogs up against one neighbor's fence, getting into the other neighbor's fence. The dogs are aggressive. Do you want to add something?
Well, I think John probably remembers, like, we talked about it earlier this week, and
Yes.
I think they were going to address it.
And I spoke to AJ again today about that. The officer went out there, evaluated the situation, and determined that it was not a criminal offense because there was no attack on a person. And so it's a civil issue between two dogs fighting each other, and it's up to the homeowner to decide if they want to take that to civil court. So that's as far as the city goes. Pat did do one compliance check on the property, and I've asked him to do another one to make sure the fence is completely repaired, or if it's not, to cite the homeowner for that. But he'll do that sometime this week. But as far as the city goes, the police have done what they can, and now it's up to the homeowner to decide if they choose to take it to civil court.
Can we let the resident know, because they've been trying to get it, they first contacted me the end of November trying to get an answer, but I think they started back in August.
Yes.
So we're in July, and
Right.
can you let them know next week, okay, compliance officer went out, this is what he found, this is what they did, just respond to them so that they know,
Right.
this is where we are, because
Right.
we didn't know that's
Well,
where we
yeah,
are.
The police, that's what they said, that's what they did. They wrote the report up and gave it to them to take to civil court. So it's really up to them as to whether they wish to do that or not.
So they are aware, they have been notified?
According to our police chief, yes.
Okay.
And I think that's on the dog attack, but the issue at hand is they can't go in the backyard, because the dog's trying to get through the fence and the fence is broke.
He will check that, and I'll let you know.
All right, thank you. Any questions to
Thank
my
you, John.
right?
I have, John, you?
Yeah, I had one question. On item number 8, we're doing a motion to approve the final payment on Aloha Drive.
Oh, yes.
And there was a dip that we discussed quite a few times. Have
Yes.
we decided that we're not doing anything about that?
There,
We're just gonna go with it?
unfortunately, no, there's nothing we can do about it. I've spoke to the engineer several times over it, and it's just unfortunately how all the water is draining to come off the back of whatever that road, it's not even a name yet.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to name it, behind the daiquiri shop and the liquor store. That water has to come down there and collect.
So it has to be that
there
deep.
on east, so it has to be low enough to catch it all and to get it to drain out. If not,
Okay.
you would just have a puddle there at all times.
Okay.
It is a rough
It'll
bump,
wake you up.
unfortunately.
No doubt.
That was
Is
it.
that all you have?
Councilwoman Lacey?
Thank you. Any update on the runoff on the 13th hole, the mud running into the pond on the,
Nothing
course.
yet. I will have to get with the engineer. He is working
okay.
on design for each one of those to clean those holes.
Okay, great. And then
Our ponds.
anything new on the Ramada? You know, we ask every time.
Yes, I understand. Nothing new. I'll reach out to the owner and see if I can get an update from him for the next meeting.
Well, he's not open, so that's.
But he
right.
is not opening anytime soon.
Okay. And then, any news on the parade route, for Mardi Gras?
No, I was actually received an email from Sandy this morning saying that the king, or no, the president of the crew was going to come and speak to the council and discuss that. But I guess nobody.
We just had a meeting.
Oh.
I'm not the president.
Okay.
But no, we just had a meeting. And
Okay.
whatever the city thinks is the best for public safety, I think
Right.
that's where we're side.
Right, and that was the issue from the fire chief and the reason for the change. He requested that we change the route going down to Diamond Head Drive East to allow him access to exit the fire station if needed to get to the south side. With the current route, once the parade starts, he is kind of locked in and has no way to leave. He currently, or has for the last few years, stationed one of his trucks on the south side, but if there's a bigger issue, then he would not be able to get his second truck over there due to the parade. So he requested that, and the crew, I guess, met and decided to
Okay,
make
so
that
it's
change.
gonna stay like that?
Yes,
Okay.
as of right now. Now, of course, next year, the whole thing is probably going to have to change due to the roundabout construction for the next probably 2 years. So we'll have to see what they can do following that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we do have somebody here from the crew of Diamond Head, and y'all are okay with that?
Yes, ma'am. The thing, I think we decided tonight in the meeting that we'd love to have the old route back, but if it ever becomes, if it's a matter of public safety, we don't want to hamper public safety for the parade route. We can work with that.
Okay, all right,
I-
thank you.
I just got to say that if public safety was the issue, why all the years having it and all of a sudden it changes? To me, having a fire truck positioned at the south side already, you have enough police officers to stop the parade to make a clearing for the fire trucks to get through if it gets that big that it's more than a one truck thing. So I don't see that as really being, the parade will go by for about an hour clogging it up. I really think that the commercial district, with people being able to park there and they make some money because they buy goods and stuff before they go and set up their chairs, I think you're really hurting our commercial district by changing the route. And I really think that we should consider this one last year before the roundabout comes in and we have to re-examine everything, that we do it the way we've done it for years and not make this change right now. That's just my 2 cents, and I don't think it's going to impact safety with enough police officers.
I'm agreeing.
And I agree with that. And you know what I would like to see as well? I learned about this on Facebook. I really did. I saw it, and everybody's laughing, but this is true. I was on Facebook, and it said the parade route change, and my first thought, good thing I was on Facebook and not sitting here, because that has been a tradition in Diamond Head. It's been a tradition all the way through. We know the routes. There's families that have been doing those Mardi Gras events for that parade that own businesses here for years. So if there's any way you could ask him to revisit this, to look at it, because this may be our last year for 2 years, then the third year, we'll have a bypass road. We've got Noma Drive, the new business district. That road will be in by that point. So we have where we can put barricades on the south side of the roundabout and send everybody to and from with another road. So if we could have one last nice blowout in Diamond Head, can you ask him and see? And I think the majority, Councilman Clark, Councilman Marr,
No,
Councilwoman Lisi.
I agree, and I just had a question. If the crew could have, if the fire chief says, okay, we can do it, Omar, is the crew,
We'd love to have
you'd like to go back?
Absolutely, that's all right.
Okay.
We don't want to impact public safety.
No, I figured. I just wanted to make sure we were clear. Yeah.
We'd love to have the old route.
Okay.
We'd definitely love to have the old route.
Got it.
Okay. Well, can you reach out and then let the council know as well? And if something major like this happens, we probably need to know before it gets to Facebook, because we had no clue it was changed. Okay. Sorry, I love Mardi Gras. I think anybody born and raised here loves Mardi Gras. And Diamond Head, the crew of Diamond Head does an outstanding job on the parade. I think we all can agree. So thank you all for what you do. All right, so any other questions for the city manager? Okay. So I am going to be very kind to Jesse and Jordan tonight and say that this is public agenda comments, because this was a presentation on a topic. You both are talking about the arts and crafts show, so please know that we can't comment or say anything about your paralegal advice, but you can come up and share your comments on the arts and crafts show.
My concern is actually already addressed.
Oh, okay. Other concern? Is there any more? Oh, honey, I didn't see you hiding over there. Yes, I did. I'm just having a senior moment.
Okay, some of y'all already know me. I'm Jordan Jones. I am currently in the treasury position for the Diamond Head Youth Athletic Association.
Okay.
That is recent. That is as of this year, towards the end of this season. And to make it short, I know it's getting a little late for y'all, and I apologize for that. I did want to come up here and kind of clarify some things that we have had brought to our attention with the athletic association, between our association and the craft fair. I'm not going to sit up here and talk to y'all until your ears bleed about different drama that has gone on with Facebook or anything like that. I will point out some factual information for y'all. There were a lot of allegations made against Ms. Taylor. However, her use of the verbiage of false accusations and false allegations is not correct. All of these allegations were true and factual. The 2019 craft fair that she spoke of was under a different DYAA president. That president's no longer involved with us in any way. And also the president that she spoke about by name, Ben Taylor, he is no longer the president of our association either. Unfortunately, Ms. Taylor has left. I would have appreciated for her to stay because I feel like this is probably the closest I will get to encouraging her to finally give us the money that we are owed for the Diamond Head Craft Fair that she has yet to give to us. She refuses to respond to any text messages, emails, phone calls from anybody associated with our Diamond Head Youth Athletic Association. Whenever this plan was first made for the craft fair to be a benefit to us, the Diamond Head Craft Fair was not created and then decided to help the athletic association. The athletic association created this event. This event was not a standalone business. It was not a standalone charity. It was not a standalone 501c3. It was simply an event that was created by the association to get money gathered for our kids because sports equipment cost a lot. We just found out that helmets have now gone up to triple digits. They're about $100, $130 to get. We no longer have the funds to be able to afford a lot of these things because of not getting our money from her. And I do have a couple things I wanted to go over with y'all real quick. She was contacted multiple times. She refused to have any conversations about where the money had gone, and that she had obtained an attorney for her legal issues. The agreement originally with Ben Taylor was, and Ben Taylor was the president while the craft fair was going on this year. Shortly after the craft fair is when we had the changeover as far as the league changing with board members. So during this craft fair, Ben Taylor was the president. The agreement was for her to keep half of the profits, not half of the total expenditures and total revenue generated, but half of the profits after paying everything out, which we all thought was very fair because she was running this on her own, which was what she was supposed to be doing, what was always agreed to. In regards to the league not helping, when I say league, I mean our association. I apologize, I keep swapping. In regards to us from the association or Ben Taylor supposed to help with the fair, I know she had said that she was supposed to or expecting help from the association as far as cooking hamburgers and helping out. That was never the case. There are vendors there. There are food vendors there. There are many food vendors there, and that gives these food vendors the opportunity to go somewhere else to make some more money to get their products out there. I can't speak on years before this because I wasn't involved with the league at all for that. And our record as a nonprofit is in good standing still, so I don't know where she has thought that a good defense for her actions is to say that we are not a nonprofit and that's why she couldn't do any of this. That's not the case. I will also let you know that the craft fair Facebook pages is what she uses to generate vendors. Until at the very least at 4:30 today, whenever I pulled everything up to make sure that I was still right on my facts and arguments, the craft fair pages, she has 2 of them, both say that they benefit our association and just our association. It does not say anything about any other associations, any other leagues, any other charitable profits at all. She has opened a nonprofit on the Diamond Head Arts and Crafts Fair alone. However, once again, that is not a standalone organization, or it was never meant to be. That was an event created by our association. There is also a link on one of these Facebook pages that goes to Weebly. That's an odd name, but that is how you sign up to register and pay for a vendor spot. And it states in here The Diamond Head Arts and Crafts Fair is in its 37th year. I can't speak on that. I don't know that it's been around for 37 years, but it may very well have been. The Diamond Head Youth, it has supported the Diamond Head Youth Athletic Association since the beginning. That is not true. In 2018 or 2019 is whenever it became a benefit for us. So I think what has happened maybe in her mind is that at one point there was a different fair, and then maybe profits started coming from that. I don't know where that has crossed lines at, but I do know that as of today at 4:30, all of her public pages say that she benefits us, and she is rendering vendors off the mindset that they are now helping our association, and they are not. One more thing that I want to point out to y'all, I do have her itemized list of profits from this past craft fair. And that's going to be a total of $22,564. That is a total income that she's got. And it shows that her profit from that would be $11,566. However, what is supposed to happen in this circumstance is all of these itemized expenses were supposed to be ran through, at least at that time, Ben, but preferably through the entire board. That way it can be approved as an expense that comes out of our money, because at the end of this, all of this money is collected and it is split in half. She gets half because this is a big job. And then we get half towards our association to pay for all the things that we need for our kids to be able to play sports safely and adequately. However, in this itemized breakdown, there are attorney fees for $3,000, which we found out was her attorney fees so that she could get this all in her name. That was in no way ever agreed upon. There are things in here that may have been agreed upon had she let us know. However, the expense would not have. She had paid help for $1,425, uniform expenses, vehicle expensive, none of which would have been an issue that we would have been paying for. So it doesn't make sense to say that, you know, you've made $22,000. However, we only get 11, and of that 11, we now split that 11 between us and between her. So we do want to go ahead and clarify some of that. So I understand that y'all can't ask any questions on this, but it is something that we wanted to bring to your attention. Unfortunately, she's not here for me for me to be able to speak with her, and she will not speak with anyone at this point. So I appreciate y'all's time, and sorry for talking so fast. I'm trying to let y'all get out of here.
No,
So
you
thank
did wonderful.
so much.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Jones. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the minutes. Could I get a motion to approve the revised December 20th, 2022 regularly scheduled meeting minutes?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. All in favor?
Aye.
Could I get a motion to approve the January 3rd, 2023 regularly scheduled meeting minutes?
Move again.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Could I get a motion to approve consent agenda items 3 through 9?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilwoman Lisi. All in favor? Aye. I'm going to move for discussion and possible, we're going to move to discussion regarding the drainage on Diamond Head Drive, North, Amoka, Kaliki, and Aiki. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilwoman Lisi. All in favor?
Aye.
So do we have the engineer that's working on this here tonight?
No, ma'am. He is unfortunately had to have surgery yesterday and is not here today.
And he couldn't make it today?
Go figure.
That's
He
okay,
he
because
said
the
he-
mayor did a PowerPoint.
He
and
said he
it-
could make it, but he's on some pain pills, and
Oh,
probably,
okay.
he wouldn't remember it.
We might would have liked his answers better tonight.
Yeah, that's true,
Possibly.
but we'll,
Okay, so, you know, I've had this on the agenda 3 times, so I thought maybe a PowerPoint, because we do have new council members, so that we could discuss the drainage issues, concerns, where we're at, and hopefully that'll help us. So if y'all want to turn around, and I guess I'm going to move over here, and we can look at the PowerPoint.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay, The first slide that we have here shows the area that we're talking about, the area of concern, which is Diamond Head Drive North, Amoka, Kaliki, and Aiki. So everything in the circle is what we're discussing about the drainage concerns. Both these areas, and this is our master drainage map, the watershed A, which is about 422 acres, a lot of this area drains to this area. This area that we're discussing is located in the subbasins 55 and 56. So that's the drainage subbasins these areas are in. Can we get the lights off? Can y'all see that okay? No? Councilman Finley?
I can see. I can turn it off.
Okay, now that looks a lot better. So we see the two subbasins, 55 and 56. A lot of the water drains in this area, and this is the area we're having drainage concerns with. This next map is probably the most important. So this shows the 4 areas that are highlighted in yellow. These areas, water goes over the street, not just in a high event, but in medium to high rain events. We've got water over the street in these areas, and some of these areas have had water in the homes. So we're looking at Diamond Head Drive North, Aiki, Kaliki, and the intersection of Amoka and Kaliki Court are the 4 specific areas. Looking at the numbers in the green boxes, that represents the contour. So we're starting at an elevation grade of 30, going all the way down to 10. So you see how the contours fall. That's a great big slope and a lot of water draining from that 422 acres. I showed Makiki drainage on there because we currently had one pipe going under the road. It was up very high. We had a little catch basin with side inlets. It wasn't catching a lot. Now we've got 2 double barrels, and I don't know if you've been out there to see the drainage boxes, but John, you can tell us about how big. They're like 6 feet by, they're massive. And the pipes under the road, I believe, are 236? 236, so it can hold a lot of water. So now the outfall area where some of this water is going, once Makiki's finished, is ready to receive it. The first area we want to look at is Diamond Head Drive North specifically, and we're looking at the area that's blue. Do y'all see the blue with the red line? At one point, there was a big major drainage ditch going through this lot, and it was wide, and the water flowed coming from across Diamond Head Drive North through this empty lot, then under the subsurface under 2 pipes out to Aiki. If you look at the yellow line, once we had a home built there, then the yellow line became the ditch. So the area got constricted. We had soils brought in. We had a new home built. And now the ditch is in yellow, and it goes on an angle back out, follows the property line to the outfall pipes. Here we can see a photo of the 2 outfalls, and I believe they're 218 inches going out, how it looks when it rains. And then this is a view under the neighbor's adjacent property of the ditch when it rains. You can see the shed is very close to the ditch, and I believe we've got a 5-foot setback for sheds along the property line. It is in compliance. It's just the water comes up that high. And on this specific day, it was probably a foot away from getting onto the patio and into the home. Kaliki Way, one of these photos is really blurry, sorry about that, but this clearly shows, you see where the little yellow dot is, and this area specifically, water has a problem getting out. In a medium to high rain, the water gets over the street, and it looks like this in certain times. Amoka Drive, this area is another area, and all of this drains to one part, so this is one big project. Amoka Drive at the intersection of Kaliki and Amoka, we have water that goes across the road, medium to high rains, and if you look at the photo with the water going over the culvert, this area needs to be addressed as well. And that's all I have on my slideshow, but I hope that clearly explained the conditions on Amoka, Diamond Head Drive North, Kaliki, and Aiki, and the need for drainage improvements. And we do have an engineer working on this. I just wanted the council to see, so you all and the residents to see, because I know y'all have concerns about it, where we are with it, and the problems that occurred. Aiki, I do not have a slide on Aiki, but I did show the area that had where the water crosses over the street. So that specifically has that as well.
Is that clear?
Yeah, that's good. You make that?
Yes, I did today. After the
Good.
senior fair. So, we've got a lot of residents on that street, so I hope you all know that we understand clearly. This was for new council members and the public to know we're looking at it. So, city manager, where are we with this? And you can have my PowerPoint. I will give it to you.
This is one of the main areas that the engineering firm discussed today. According to his map, we have to remove a high spot on an elevation. We have an undersized culvert and a driveway. We have reverse flow on 4 different pipes that he's showing. Smaller pipes and landscape culverts that need to be enlarged. It's all here talking about what needs to be done, and that, as I said earlier, this is something he's working. They're going to work on the details and get us a project put together. That's probably, as you said, that's one that is too big to be done by Public Works, but will have to be done as a complete project by vendor.
Can we get an idea, because we have been talking about this way before, it's been like 2 years. I had files that dated back to 19, so can we get a date from him when he will have something ready? The design work, has he done all the topo, gone out and picked up everything?
I believe all the topo has been done. He did reference a few things, him and the other engineer referenced a few things that they would need to look at to finish up on. But yes, I believe most of the topo's done, and they would just have to start the design work on what needs to be replaced.
Can we have a date at the next council meeting
I will see if I
on
can get
when he can tell us the construction plans at least will be done? And I know we have a lot of funding for drainage, so you want to discuss that funding? All of it, or?
I can. I just want the whole council to know, if we start tearing up landscape culverts, you're gonna have neighbors or residents complaining, so, but it is what is needed in a lot of this area, so just keep that in mind.
And specifically at the intersection of Amoka and Kaliki Court, I think that is a big factor of why it's running over. We've got some subsurface off of Diamond Head Drive North, those 2 little pipes that I showed you clearly can't handle. So, I mean, residents are gonna have to understand that
I
it's
addressed that
gonna
one
get ugly.
specifically with the engineer, and unfortunately, those 2 subsurface pipes go underneath the neighbor behind's driveway, and I don't understand exactly how that was approved or even designed that way. So that is something that's gonna have to be, I've asked him to move that to our drainage easements so that we have ability to maintain that. And
Excellent.
so that is something that he's working on to get it to go. Of course, it's gonna have to take 3 90s to get there, but it's gonna, it's gotta be done.
Aren't there roots going through one of those right now, right?
That is our impression, that one of those 15-inch pipes has either a root or something that has pushed it up and is really preventing any water flow from coming out there. So pretty much on that whole section, there's nothing but 1 18-inch that's trying to drain all that water out, which is not truly possible. But again, it goes under this lady's driveway and then through her middle of her yard, so it's going to have to be rerouted so that we as a city have the ability to maintain it from that point forward.
And then at the end of Amoka, where the outfall is, that last section, you know, that is possibly, and I'm not saying it is, but possibly why it's backing up on Kaliki, you know, and Aiki, because it cannot get out at the final outfall of Amoka, which heads out to the waterway.
That is another one that the culvert is tilted the wrong way, and so it takes the entire thing filling up before it finally starts pushing water through. And yes, I don't know if it's backing it all the way up to Aiki Kaliki, but it is an issue there that prevents the water from flowing in the proper.
It definitely does, because I've walked in it.
Certainly.
It gets across the street, and then you've got residents during rainy season that have sandbags out there 24/7, and we're trying to get, okay, if we could have a date at the next council meeting when those plans will be done. Does anybody in that area want to say anything? Yes.
Putting rocks in our ditches does not help water flow. Rocks are used to dam water, not to flow. So if we're gonna have rocks in our ditches, who's gonna maintain them when they fall all in the center so the water can flow?
And if they're not grouted, that's exactly where they're going.
Exactly, and that's where they're already at.
Okay.
That's part of our problem, and Steve's talking about water flowing backwards. Basically, I'm getting erosion of my yard because of the fact that the water there can't get over the rocks that have fallen and made this nice little band. And I mean, when it's a nice, small little rainfall, it's kind of cute to watch the water try to get through the rocks. But when you have the torrential rains or moderate rains, like you said, where we get, an inch or more, what it's doing is it's sitting under my driveway and it's eroding the I cannot think of the name, but it's what keeps the pipe in place where my driveway is. And I've got a hole right now that's, I can't even mow around it because it's about 5 foot deep and about 3 foot wide.
Okay, so do you mind sharing your specific address or?
No, I don't mind. It's 74600 Diamond Head Drive.
So John, can we write down 74600 Diamond Head Drive North? We have Ty back here. Ty, stand up because we got to say something about you.
Oh, boy. Do you
Ty
wanna-
Wiltz,
do you
this
wanna
is our
bring-
Public Works Director, and we all want to say he is doing an outstanding job. So thank you, Ty. And Miss Vicki wants to say that. Thank you.
Along the same lines of talking about the rock, when Mike Russo looked at it, he said the only thing that does is slow the water down, and then it barrels right out, and it barrels right out to my property. That has nothing to do, and I've got this great big old ditch.
And rocks on a bankment is for erosion control. So that's why you put them. But if you don't grout them, when the water's moving very swiftly or if it starts whirlpooling, then it all goes in the bottom. We've seen that all over. So can we look at that ditch, 746? I think y'all know exactly where we're talking about without giving the address. Okay.
May I say something, particularly with hurricane season, it's coming faster each year it seems, but particularly with that, because, if we have, torrential rains, then particularly Vicky's house is definitely going to have water. And it's going to back up where we'll have water excuse me, Diamond Head Drive North, I'm 74601, across from Carl and D. So we really would appreciate it being expedited.
Okay. And we hear your concerns, and that's the purpose too of getting it back on the agenda. The rain is coming. We know how it is in March and April, and every year it's very dreadful. So, John, not to put the pressure on you. And we thank you for what all you do, John. We know we're very stressful, but thank you for what you do. We thank you. Okay.
Are we gonna have a discussion on that?
We're discussing. So, Councilman Cumberland, would you like to discuss?
Well, I got a question, because you brought up we have millions of dollars for
Mhm.
drainage, so I was
Yeah, we
wondering, how are we prioritizing this?
Well, the funding we have for drainage is by grant, and it's for a specific area.
Okay.
Whatever we were applying for that grant, and if we got the grant. We are also trying to get trying to get funding through the state with ARPA to match our $2 million that we did receive from them. That grant due date is the end of this month, and that was the reason why we met with the engineer today. We're working on trying to get that entire grant put together so we know what we're applying for. A large portion of that we tried for in November, I think it was, or September, was to do the Turnberry detention pond, which we have decided now is not really a major focus. So we're moving off of that, and we're looking at all of these types of areas instead. To let's fix downstream first, and then we'll get further upstream to fix where the problems are there. We're applying. We're going to work on that hopefully first of next week, and get our total grant put together and get it applied to the state. And let's hope we can get that funding approved. If so, then we've doubled our money from $2 to $4 million that we can work
Nice.
with. So it's just where we are right now.
Have we gotten our 2 million from the Board of Supervisors? Because we should be at 6 million.
Not yet. So it's all the projects together would have to be done, and then we'll have to ask for the reimbursement from the Board of Supervisors for that $2 million.
Well, we
Or
need to
show-
spend the 2,
or
and
show
we
the
need to spend the 2
contract.
soon and get the reimbursement for the other 2, because that's $6 million for drainage,
Good.
and we need to get moving on that.
Yeah, that's what we're working on.
Okay, and make sure this is in there.
And they did say at
Please.
state that if you reapply for stuff, there's a better chance of getting it the second go-round than it was the first. So.
That is what the Lieutenant Governor said, but you never know.
Well, the match funding for the 2 million will be there, but it was a little bit shy. Remember, we had to put some of our money with it. The match is there, but getting additional ARPA funding is very difficult. Very, very difficult, on top of the 4. It is competitive. Okay, any other questions? All right. So, there's no other questions. We're going to move on to the claims payable. A motion to approve docket of claims DKT 230383, DKT 230418, in the amount of $417,925.95.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Marr. Could I get a second? Second made by Councilman Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve payroll payables DKT 230369, DKT 230382 in the amount of $45,827.16. PR claim 00148 in the amount of $25,851.71. PR claim 000149 in the amount of $2,516.58. And PR claim 00150 in the amount of $27,227.71. Could I get a motion? Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilwoman Lisi. All in favor?
Aye.
Department reports. Could I get a motion to approve all as listed? Councilman Clark, could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. All in favor?
Aye.
We have no non-agenda public comments. Is there any need for executive session?
No, ma'am.
Wait.
Thank you.
I want to just say one thing. This Saturday is going to be our first ever open mic for music on the town green here with the gazebo from 1 to 3 this Saturday, barring it raining. So I hope to see everybody there for the first time. Bring a blanket, bring a lawn chair, bring a cooler.
Bring a friend.
And Mayor, could you give us an update on this past week's senior village?
Well, thank you, Councilman
It looked like
Clark.
great turnout.
We have a lot of people here that attended the senior village. We have been having a blast with the senior village. So the first senior day, we had hundreds of people here for the senior fair. We did not expect such a big crowd, but it was wonderful. The room was packed. The next event, we had about 75 people. Today, we have between 45 and 50. And on Thursday, the Diamond Head Garden Club is coming, and we're making flower arrangements to bring home.
Oh.
And we're doing a tea party theme, so it's been very well received, and we're enjoying it. It's excellent. Mm-hmm. And Councilman Marr, the mayor might be out there singing.
Woohoo!
It's gonna be crazy in Diamond.
I will have my video to do the PowerPoint for the next council meeting.
Oh gosh. Okay. With that being said, and no further business of the council, could I get a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second? Second by Councilman Cumberland. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming tonight.
They said he's on his way home. Grandbaby's on his way home.
Oh, yay. Prayers work.